So today I'm going to share with you how to buy into fractional shares on Robinhood. I'm going to actually take you through the process step by step so you can see what it's like to be able to buy into smaller pieces of stock instead of having to buy the full share all at once. It's a pretty awesome feature, which means that your money can start working faster for you. Also too, if you're interested in getting your dividends reinvested from either these fractional shares or the whole shares of your companies that you have, make sure you stick around because we're going to talk about the drip program with Robinhood as well. So in case you are new here, my name is Dennis and I love talking about apps and services that really help you build wealth. And having access to fractional shares is a great way to kind of go through the process of being able to have your money work for you even faster. Now, in case you're not familiar with fractional shares, it pretty much means that instead of having to spend the full amount for one full share of a stock, let's go ahead and say it's $100, you can put any dollar amount that you want towards this stock. Typically, every company is going to be a little different. So some of them are going to have a minimum of like $1, some of them maybe even a little bit less. But essentially what you can do is you can put smaller amounts into that stock and have ownership into that company at smaller price points. And that's going to be really great for a lot of people getting started because maybe they don't have a couple $100 to toss into certain stocks. So what we're going to do is actually show you the step-by-step process of actually buying into fractional shares. So we're going to load up my Robinhood account so you guys can see this in real time. And then that way we can have a good understanding of how this process all works. Now, I already have a couple different stocks in fractional shares. So I'm going to show you guys those, and then I'm going to show you how you actually go through the process of buying into them. So what we're going to do is look at my portfolio. So right now it looks like we've had a really good day in the market here. So we're up about 7.55%. So let's kind of just scroll down here, and the first couple of stocks you're going to see here that I have, you're going to see that they are in full shares. So I got 12 shares for Ford, 20 for NRZ, 1 for Microsoft, 1 for Siri, 1 for VOOG, all of these different companies. But then if I scroll down even further, you're going to start seeing some of them with like really crazy small numbers. So like that BRK, that one is 0.000035 shares. The Yum is going to be 0.14, which is about 14% of one share. Then we have CMG, which is Chipotle. That is 0.3266 shares. And then DPZ, which is Domino's Pizza, that is 0.077 shares. And then again, we go back to a couple of just regular shares as well for some of these other funds. Now, again, like I mentioned, the great thing about this is that when you are buying into these companies, you can buy in smaller dollar amounts. And I'll show you what I mean by this. So if we go into, for example, Chipotle is currently trading for $661.10. Now, for me to invest $661, that's a lot of money at once, and that's also potentially a large portion of my portfolio, because if I don't have enough money to buy just one share, let alone, invest into other companies, that's going to be a huge portion. So for me, I actually have about $20.59 in this portfolio, and then you can see the amount of shares like we talked about was 0.03, and then my average dollar cost. So you can see here that I definitely bought in at a good time because my average dollar cost was $617, and it's up to $661. So I'm actually up $1.42 at this point, which I wouldn't have been able to do so if I was actually having to wait to buy a full share with the full dollar amount. So fractional shares gives you some really great stuff. So what we're going to do is show you how to go through this process. So right now, I have a total of $9.41. So I'm going to invest into two different companies so you can kind of see this happen two different times in case that helps you out a little bit more. So the two companies, I already have them invested, which is Chipotle and Domino's Pizza. I want to add a little bit more to both of these companies. So what we're going to do is we're going to add $5 more to Chipotle, and then we're going to add the rest of that money that I have back into Domino's Pizza. So again, you're going to see here $21.59 is my equity, $6.17 is going to be my average dollar. So what we can do is we can go ahead and hit trade, and then we can hit buy. And then from over here, what you're going to see is currently it tells me how many shares I want to buy. So this is not going to work for me if I want to do fractional shares because I can't put anything less than one. If I do like that much, I can, go ahead and put an estimate, but I'm going to have to sit there and try to guess based off of how many shares I had to put in to get the dollar amount that I want. So the easier way to do this is actually at the top right, you're going to see a thing that says shares with a little arrow down. If we click on that, there we go. You're going to see the two options there for the market orders where you could buy in dollars or you could buy in shares. Now, here's something that is a little unfortunate when it comes to the fractional shares. You can't actually do like limit orders or stop orders with the fractional pieces when it comes to buying. So just something to keep in mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy in dollars. So I know exactly how much I want to invest dollar wise. So what we're going to do is now we're in this position. It tells me how much I have available to be able to invest. We're going to just do the $5 for this one. Again, because we're going to do the rest of it with dominoes. So I'm going to click on review here. And then over here, it's going to tell me how many shares I'm going to buy into it. Again, these might seem like really small numbers because the actual shares are pretty expensive. So I'll get 0.007563 shares. And that's approximate. It could be a little bit different afterwards just based off of when the actual transaction takes place. So once I'm officially done with that, I'm going to go ahead and swipe up. The order is received. And bam, the order has been placed. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So now if I scroll down, you're going to see a couple things have changed. My overall shares is now 0.040. My total equity is 2662. And then you can see my average dollar cost has gone up, of course, because now the shares overall more expensive. So that's how you do it there. If you scroll down here towards the bottom, you can see the different market orders that I've done for this. You can see those different amounts. You can click on them if you want to see, how many shares you're buying at every single point. So that way you have an understanding of like, hey, am I lowering my dollar cost average? Am I increasing it? Obviously with this, I am increasing it because it's worth more than when I originally started putting money into it. Now, before we continue on, if you are getting some value out of this video so far, do me a solid and hit that like button down below. Helps out the channel to continue to grow. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop back into the rest of the content. So let's go ahead and now that we have only 441, we're going to buy into some dominoes. But here's one thing that I noticed when I was going through the process of using fractional shares. There are a few companies that won't allow you to do fractional shares. And the only one I actually ran into was a company called LK, which is Luck and Coffee. I wanted to buy into this company, but when I went to go try and buy into the fractional shares, if I click on the dollars up here, if I say buy in dollars, let's go ahead and say I do... Let's just go ahead and say I do $1. And I will go ahead and try to click on review. This one right over here, it says fractional shares unavailable. It says fractional shares are unavailable for LK. You do not have enough to buy one share. So this one, unfortunately, it doesn't allow you, even though it kind of goes almost through the process of looking like you can. I don't know, the differences between some and others. This one is an international fund, so maybe that could be why, but just something to keep in mind when you're going through the process of looking. Not every company is going to be available for those fractional shares. All right, so now let's go ahead and put the rest of the money that we had into Domino's Pizza, because that's where we're going to put the rest. So here you can see my average dollar cost, my shares, my equity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the buy button here, and I'm going to put all 441. If I'm not mistaken, I believe $1 is going to be the least amount you can put in there. Yeah, so you can see here I try to put like a point, whatever, and it says a minimum of $1. So you can put $1 in if you wanted to. So if you're somebody who wanted to own Tesla and you wanted to just test it out with $1, you are more than welcome to if you have access to fractional shares. So let's go ahead and do the 441 because that's what we're gonna fully buy into. So this one actually does say that extended hours volatility. It says the price of Domino's Pizza may be volatile during extended hours due to low trading volume. So this order will be queued for market open. So if I wanted to, I can continue. I'm gonna wait actually for that. I don't want it to go in the morning. So I'm gonna hold off on doing that investment there. As you can see, that happened in real time. But other than that, you can go through and spend the money on other funds, or you can place the order to have it go in open for the next morning. But for that regard, I'm just gonna wait on that overall. Now, anytime I talk about fractional shares, I do typically have people ask me the question of, well, what happens to my dividends? So if the company you have fractional shares in actually does pay out dividends, you will still get those dividends. Now, of course, it's going to be based off of the percentage that you have in the fractional shares. So to make it really easy, let's go ahead and say that you have, half of a share for one company. And let's say this company pays out 10 cents per share. So if you have half a share, you're going to get 5 cents instead of the 10 cents. So it can still work that way for you to be able to earn dividends on those companies, even though you have fractional shares. And even if you have, let's say, 4.6 shares of a company, you will get those dividends based off of the percentage that you have and what they pay out for those dividends. So you still get them, and that is a really nice feature. So that way, again, not only are you getting the opportunity for your money to grow, but you're also getting those dividends if those companies pay them out. Now, Robinhood also has what they call a drip program that allows you to reinvest your dividends back into the companies that paid them out. I want you to check out my video right over here where I actually teach you how to set it up and make sure those dividends are going to the right companies that paid out those dividends.